As we age, our bodies can go through changes that lead to a loss of mobility. But the good news is, with the right exercises, it's possible to reverse those changes and regain your mobility in just a few weeks. As you age, your body experiences three big changes that can lead to a loss of mobility over time. The first change is problems with the feet. And if you have issues like stiffness or pain in your feet, you won't be able to push off properly when you walk, and your balance will also get worse too. The second change is in your ankles, and stiff ankles have been correlated with poor mobility and an increased risk of falls. And the third change is tightness and stiffness in your hip and your knee. And those changes can slow you down and lead to a loss of muscle power over time. Thankfully, these problems can be reversed with the right approach. Here are 3 simple moves to help you regain your mobility fast. Just before I show you them, I just need to make you aware they're not going to be suitable for everyone, so do get checked out before you give them a try, and if they cause you any pain, just avoid them. The first exercise we're going to do today is a mobilization of your big toe. So here's how it works. You need to be able to reach your big toe, so I would suggest sitting on somewhere comfortable and then resting your foot on a platform that's just slightly raised in front of you, just so you can reach down and get close to your toe like this. Now, what we're going to do is a flexion and extension mobilization, and that means we're going to mobilize it coming up into extension and down into flexion. Now, in your big toe, you've got 2 joints. You've got the main joint here, and you've got the distal joint here, the tiny little one, which just allows you to slightly bend your toes. We're going to mobilize both of those joints one by one. So let's start with extension, and we're going to do the main joint first, which does this movement here. So you can secure your foot with your other hand, and then with the same side hand, I want you to grasp your big toe with your finger and thumb. And all we're going to do is pull the toe up towards you just until we reach stiffness, not pain, and then relax. And then pull up and relax. Pull up and relax. You can see here I'm doing most of the work with my forefinger, and it's just allowing me to pull that toe up towards me like that. Now, as a side note, if you can't reach your big toe, an alternative might be to get a little resistance band around the toe and pull like that, or you can ask someone else to do this for you. Now, once you've done 20 or 30 going up like that, we're going to switch to flexion, which is going down. So lift your foot a little bit more and then reach over the top, and this time use your thumb to mobilize down like this. So we're pushing down and away just to the point of stiffness, and then releasing. Down and away and release. Down and away and release. And you might find that as you're doing 20 or 30 repetitions of this, the joint actually becomes looser and you can get more movement out of it. Now, once you've done your 20 or 30, you can move on to that tiny little joint at the front of the toe. So again, we're going to do the same thing, but bring your thumb up the toe towards the end of it, finger over the top, and now we're just going to gently pull up like this. It's a much smaller movement than the first one because we're just getting that end joint to move a bit more, but it's just as important. So you can do this one a bit more briskly. So 20 or 30 of these coming up, and then swap over, and 20 or 30 of these just pushing down the end joint in the big toe. Now, if you can do this once or twice a day over a period of a couple of weeks, you're going to notice a big change in your mobility. The second exercise we're going to do is the double calf stretch. And this is a fantastic way to reverse mobility loss because your calves becoming tight restricts the movement of your ankle, and you need proper ankle movement to walk well. So here is how the exercise looks. It's really easy to do. You just need a wall to put your hands against. I'm going to show you on the left side. You're going to put your foot back like this with your back heel on the floor. Going to keep this leg nice and straight. Both feet are going to be pointing forward and parallel. And then you're going to bend that front knee until you feel a stretch in the calf at the back there. Now, once you've got that stretch, going to keep your heel down throughout, and you're just going to hold it for 30 seconds. So sustain the stretch for 30 seconds. You can increase it as you go, but never above a 4 or a 5 out of 10. More intense stretching doesn't actually mean better results at all. So really, you're just causing yourself pain for no additional benefit. Now, once you've done your 30 seconds, here is where you do the double part. This is where we now take the stretch down the calf into the soleus. So keep this leg exactly where it is. You're going to bring your weight back over the top of your leg. Now you're going to bend that back knee and sink down into the stretch without letting your heel lift up. So we're still stretching the same leg, but now the stretch has gone from here down here into something called the soleus, which is the second muscle in your calf, which is highly active when we walk. We also want to keep that soleus nice and flexible because that is one of the muscles where if it gets tight, it will restrict your ankle mobility. Again, hold for 30 seconds. If you want to, you can then go back to the first calf stretch and you might find that you can get a bit further forward. You don't have to do it more than once, but it might be beneficial. Whatever you do, come back to it a few times per day. These stretches work best when they're spaced throughout the day rather than doing loads all in one go. So I'd recommend doing 3 or 4 repetitions each day, spaced out evenly for best results. The final exercise I'm going to show you today is one that's going to improve the flexibility of your hip and knee muscles. But before I show you it, if you're enjoying today's routine, I've got tons more like it in my lifelong mobility program. The only difference is the exercises are done at a pace that you can follow along at home, so you can watch me on the screen and copy all the way through the routine. If you want to find details of that, it's in the description box below this video. Anyway, the final exercise I'm going to show you today, you just need one bit of kit to make it work. I'm going to use a resistance band loop, but you could just use a towel if you don't have one of these at home, and that's going to help you, especially if you're not very flexible to begin with. So to make this exercise work, you're going to lie on your side like this with the top leg being the one to be worked. So what I'm going to do with my loop is I'm going to fold it over double like this, and I'm going to lasso the front of my shin on the top. I'm then going to fold it over double and grasp it with the top hand. Now, if you have a nice long loop, it doesn't matter if you're not very flexible because you don't have to bend your knee very much to hold the band. So if you're really not flexible, take a nice long band or towel and you can throw it around your shin like that and then pass it through like this. The more flexible you are, the higher up the band you need to hold. So once you're in this position, you can support your head with your hand or put it on the pillow. You're going to bring your knee up towards you just so you've got a firm grip of the band. And then you're going to bring your leg out behind you as far back as you feel you can until you start to get a stretch down the front of your thigh. Once you've got that stretch, you're just going to hold it in position and you're going to hold it there for 30 seconds. Now, 30 seconds seems to be a brilliant balance between being efficient and also being effective. So all you need to do is one lot of 30 seconds, then bring your leg back to where it was, and you can come back to this later in the day. Of course, if you're going to do this at home, I'd recommend doing both sides. So once you've done that, flip over, do the other side, come back to it a few times per day, and then that's a wonderful routine to improve your mobility quickly. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've learned something new, do drop a comment below and share it with a friend. And I look forward to speaking to you again on the next video.